Hello, I am the Irish guy, and Ousmane Dembele is the best footballer on the planet. The king of the sport. Doesn't that feel a bit weird to you? I mean, it does to me. It's like hearing that Michael Bublé is at the bottom of my granny's garden eating her flowers. It's like trying to suggest that my uncle has told me that he's got a crush on the gingerbread man of Shrek. Sorry, what? Dembele is the best player in the world. Doesn't that feel weird? Lads, imagine way back to the 2022 World Cup final. Imagine being told that the next player on that pitch to win a Ballon d'Or after Messi, you would absolutely guarantee that it's the superstar who scored the hat-trick in the final. There's no way you choose anyone other than Kylian Mbappe, right? I mean, you certainly would not have chosen the chump winger who gave away a penalty and was subbed off before half-time. Imagine your contribution in the biggest game of your life being to concede a penalty and to not even make it until half-time.
Ousmane Dembele destroyed after little boy performance of World Cup final nightmare.
Yeah, less than 3 years later, he wins a Ballon d'Or. Literally crowned the best player on the planet. It's crazy. It's the quickest turnaround of form I've ever seen. Because back in 2022, Chelsea were sniffing around pitching Dembele from Barcelona for less than 40 million quid. They chose to sign Raheem Sterling instead. If I'm a Chelsea fan, then right now I am groaning like a pregnant horse. This is actually transfer ineptitude. You've chosen to not sign a future Ballon d'Or winner in favor of stuffing nearly £400,000 a week into the face of someone who right now is languishing in your reserves at 30. 3 years ago, Chelsea actually thought that Sterling was a better fit. Yeah, lads. Okay, the Ballon d'Or rankings only stretch back to as far as 30th, but lads, if this was a contest between every footballer on the planet, then I genuinely think that Sterling for his 2025 contributions wouldn't even make it into the top 1,000. Seriously, he's been an absolute jar of armpit hair for months, and he gets paid a fortune to eat cheeseburgers in peace. Man United sniffed around Dembele in 2020, chose to sign Sancho instead, who now eats wine gums on the Aston Villa bench. But yeah, Dembele was a football outcast. Even in his debut season at PSG, he was nothing special. 3 goals. Big whoop, 3 goals in what is supposed to be a farmers league. A division where these wingers have to nutmeg pigs and sheep, right? So nobody saw this coming, ever. As back in 2021, this was actually a story.
Ousmane Dembele receives astronomical offer from Newcastle report. Barcelona don't trust Newcastle amid contract talks with Dembele.
We signed Harvey Barnes instead. This is actually gloriously ironic because Dembele was panic bought by Barcelona with the Neymar money in 2017. He was their version of Voltamada on the wing. And the Frenchman has now actually gone on to do what Neymar never could, because his master plan was to leave Barcelona for PSG and win the treble and scoop the Ballon d'Or. Yeah, Dembele is currently living out a Neymar dream. Just weeks after the Brazil megastar left the pitch in tears after helping his beloved Santos lose 6-0 at home, boy, he really must stare at Dembele's achievement now and feel so green with envy that he burps Shrek juice over his feet. This whole thing feels weird to accept, right? Even seeing the guy who presented the Ballon d'Or to Dembele, that was something which sounded better on paper. If you were told that you were going to be given a Ballon d'Or by Ronaldinho, you immediately get excited. To be bestowed with football's biggest honor by the coolest footballer of all time. Yeah, this is Ronaldinho now. He's somehow bald and curly at the same time. This is someone who, I mean, last time he won a football tournament, it was in prison with his bro. Seriously, 5 years ago, he was probably playing his very own version of Paraguayan Prison Break. But, you know, instead of getting a back tattoo of the prison architecture, oh no, he's probably just instead pestering the warden to let him out if he scribbles his autograph on a block of cheese. 5 years ago, this superstar was waking up every day and probably hoping that his cellmate hadn't piddled in the morning milk. Ronaldinho used to be an untouchable, luxurious football brand. Nowadays, he looks so very weary and tired, like someone who spent a month sleeping on the floor of a Chinese airport, and he must be kind of embarrassed that his son, the prince of the Ronaldinho family, the heir to the throne, has just swapped Burnley for Hull. However, people are not happy with Dembele winning. They're really not. Because Lamine Yamal's dad is clearly not content with his son finishing second in the world at the tender age of just 18. Oh no, he's since had an emotional rant.
He's the greatest. I'm not going to say theft, but rather moral damage to a human being. Lamine Yamal is the best player in the world by far.
Moral damage? He's 18 and he just finished second at the Ballon d'Or. When I was 18, I couldn't even cut the crust off my sandwiches. And I believe that Pokemon was based on a true story.
It's not just because he's my son, but because he's the best player in the world, he added.
Oh, yeah, no, I believe you. Oh, no, it's got nothing to do with the fact that he's your son. Of course, this is an impartial view without a shred of bias.
Lamine is Lamine. We have to say that something strange has happened here. Next year's ours. Next year, the Ballon d'Or will be Spanish.
Lads, Yamal's dad's not even 40 yet. You're in your 30s and you just witnessed your teenage kid finishing second at the Ballon d'Or. That should be seen as an unbelievable honor. I'm sure you are the youngest dad by a mile to ever have their kid on the Ballon d'Or podium. Yeah, I mean, because like Haaland finished second at the Ballon d'Or recently. Yeah, his dad is nearly 60 and thanks to a certain man from Cork, probably now needs a live-in nurse to help him on and off the loo. Imagine being just a few months older than True Geordie and actually being in a position to moan about your son not being crowned the best player in the world. I mean, there's first world problems and then there's that. Yamal's dad should be proud. You had Yamal when you were a teenage boy yourself. I mean, if I did that, trying to raise a baby at 17, it would be like giving a monkey a comb. Yeah, he's not suddenly going to style himself a new quiff. And I certainly would not have raised a future megastar. The kid would have grown up to be a hunchback janitor, whilst I spent the next 10 years trying to work out how on earth I got my Hoover pregnant. Second at 18 is extraordinary, given that the GOAT Messi, he finished 20th at the Ballon d'Or at 19, getting less votes than Podolski. In a year where the Ballon d'Or went to a centre-back. I mean, come on, Yamal will be the greatest player in the world one day, and last season, 18 goals and 25 assists is outstanding. However, if there's one Barcelona player that was done dirty on that list, it's Raphinha. 34 goals and 25 assists is insane. 13 goals and 9 assists in just 14 Champions League matches as Barcelona came within the whiff of a final. And he finishes 5th? Are you sure? 5th? The Brazilian's numbers were absolutely off the charts. Nobody ever saw him doing this when he left Leeds. No one. Certainly not when Chelsea and Arsenal were half-heartedly squabbling over him as the alternative to Mudryk. No chance, but he lit up Spain, and last season, he put up Messi numbers. I think he deserved a podium spot at least. But no, he loses out to a Wolves flop. Okay, sorry, Vitinha, that was mean. I know you had a majestic season in PSG's midfield, but really, was it better than Raphinha's? No. And considering he was at Ronaldinho's birthday party when he was 7 years of age, then I think being handed this by his childhood hero would have been pretty class. Although, yeah, I know what you're thinking. Why was Ronaldinho inviting children to his birthday party? Lads, Liverpool fans are squealing about Salah not winning the Ballon d'Or, as if this is some sort of shock. Come on, what?
Ousmane Dembele is the worst ever recipient of the Ballon d'Or.
What if I told you that a 41-year-old winger won the Ballon d'Or off the back of a season with Blackpool? Lads, Dembele scored 35 goals last season, had 14 goal involvements in the Champions League, won the treble, it came within one game of winning the Club World Cup too. Of course this was deserved. There's no need for people to become saltier than chicken nuggets just because Salah didn't win. Look, I know the Ballon d'Or is never perfect, and it relies far too heavily on moments and the Champions League. Seriously, because of Didier Drogba's heroics in Munich in the Champions League final for Chelsea back in 2012, yeah, he then finished 8th at the Ballon d'Or. When should a washed up giant sack of potatoes playing for Shanghai Shenhua ever be getting a plane back from China to be crowned world's 8th best player? And especially when he was still off the back of a pathetic 5-goal Premier League season. And because of one insane miracle month for Greece, veteran midfielder Theodoros Zacharakis finished 5th at the Ballon d'Or after finishing 4th in the Greek league with AEK Athens. Apparently one crazy magical miracle month gets him within touching distance of an invincible Thierry Henry. Asamoah Gyan was nominated for the Ballon d'Or when he was at Sunderland, and that was purely off Ghana's decent World Cup. The Ballon d'Or prioritizes these huge tournaments. So yeah, because Salah did not win the Champions League, of course he only came 4th. Liverpool going out in the last 16 to PSG was the final nail in the coffin of his hopes. Of course he was never going to win this thing. Liverpool were nowhere near the business end of Europe's prestigious, pristine, prime competition. Their chances were polished off in early March. So come on, he knew he was never winning it. That's why he wasn't even there. But lads, I mean, the weirdest takeaway from this Ballon d'Or is this. Lads, May 2018.
Manchester United, Jose Mourinho chooses Scott McTominay as his special one.
Yeah. Just like when Jose was saying that finishing second with Man United was his greatest achievement. People like to pretend that Jose was losing his marbles. And just because he was seeing something in this Scottish pudding. Mourinho backed him back when McTominay was just being bemoaned as being part of a disgusting Brazilian sandwich. McFred. Yeah, Jose backing him was apparently about as clever as placing his faith in the penguin to drive his car, right? Yeah. 7 years later, 18th at the Ballon d'Or after helping Napoli conquer Serie A, becoming the first homegrown Manchester United player to finish in the top 20 of the Ballon d'Or since Giggs came 14th in 2009. To put this in context, Man United's greatest ever homegrown player, Paul Scholes, never received a single Ballon d'Or vote ever. But McTominay, he just pipped Bellingham, Haaland and Rice. Yeah, the guy who was nearly sold to Fulham a year ago. Wow! Put some respect on Jose's ball knowledge. What is crazy to me though is, When is Mbappe ever going to win it? Seriously, go back to 2017 when he pieced up Man City for Monaco as a kid and announced himself as the next superstar. When he was then beasting the World Cup to become a world champ with France the following summer at just 18. Imagine telling anyone that 7 years later and he still wouldn't have a single Ballon d'Or to his name. It's wild. Let's not forget, back in 2018, Dembele barely played at that tournament and certainly wasn't trusted in the knockout rounds whilst Benzema didn't go. Yeah. They've both won their first Ballon d'Ors before Mbappe. Kylian almost had a claim to win the thing outright in 2018. Instead, he comes fourth and loses out to Modric. The same Modric who Mbappe ripped apart in the World Cup final? Look, right now, I know I sound like Kylian's mom, but I'm actually kind of fascinated by his Ballon d'Or drought. It's now 7 years. Is he the next Thierry Henry? Arguably the best player in the world, but yet will never be given the award to show for it. Seriously, the fact that Henry has less Ballon d'Ors than Michael Owen, somebody who wound up at Newcastle and Stoke, it's a disgrace. It really is, and I think if Mbappe retires with less Ballon d'Ors than Dembele, it's gonna look oh so weird. People take KM for granted. I remember when Cristiano Ronaldo scored 42 goals in a season for Man United, and the world almost broke. It was seen as a freakish achievement, and he won the Ballon d'Or with ease. But Mbappe scores 44 goals in his debut season at Real Madrid, and nobody cares. Everyone just shrugs their shoulders and says, meh. Lads, R9 is seen as arguably the greatest striker of all time, right? Well, he spent 4.5 seasons at the Bernabeu, never hit more than 31 goals in a single season. Mbappe has already netted 50 for Madrid, and he's only been there 5 minutes. He turns 27 soon and has only made it to the podium once, finishing third in 2023 when the Ballon d'Or went to someone in the MLS. But Kylian doesn't whine, whinge, or complain. Oh no. Instead, he was openly hoping that his mate Dembele won it last night. There is no ego with the guy. Come on, he's only got a handful of years left until he's in his 30s. And he's finished in the Ballon d'Or top 3 as many times as David Beckham. Come on, he's never even finished second. And yet 2 different players bought by Southampton did. Lampard, Deco, and Klinsmann all finished second at the Ballon d'Or. And lads, none are a patch on Mbappe. Yamal has made it to the top 2 quicker than Mbappe. And he turned 11 2 days before Mbappe became world champion. Seriously, I don't have too many gripes with the Ballon d'Or last night. But what I will say is that Mbappe has to be given a Ballon d'Or soon. Because I do think he is the best footballer on the planet. And if he goes his entire career being ignored every single year, I genuinely think that will be an absolute disgrace. Anyway, that's the interview. Let me know, what do you think? What did you think of the Ballon d'Or? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to click share, please. I'll talk to you in a while. And my name's not Susan.